What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got some major problems going on here right now in Congress. Also, you won't believe what President Biden is doing with the southern border wall. It's going to absolutely shock a lot of you guys. Let's jump right in. Thanks for liking and sharing these videos. Take a look here. Some Republicans actually want to kick out Matt Gaetz, Republican Matt Gaetz, after he called for the ouster vote on Speaker Kevin McCarthy. That is a possibility that could happen. They're going to be having a vote for the next Speaker of the House here within a few days. The possibilities for the next Speaker are Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan from Ohio, and actually former President Donald Trump. That's right. Former President Donald Trump could actually become the next Speaker of the House. You don't actually need to actually be a member of the House of Representatives, which is wild. Some people don't even believe that's the case, or believe me, but you don't have to believe me. This is actually true. And it actually, in the last speakership race, when it took 15 votes, former President Donald Trump was actually nominated by Matt Gaetz, Republican Representative Matt Gaetz. So he probably will be nominated again. So we will see what happens. Take a look here at what Representative Jim Jordan, who is likely the front runner to be the next speakership for the Republicans, has to say here today.
I'll play for you a little bit more of that exclusive conversation that we just had about what it would take to avoid the next shutdown. Watch. How would you have done differently than McCarthy in this latest shutdown this weekend? He did have to look to Democrats.
Well, the key is, I think, and I hope I can get our team to rally around the process I just described, which is that longer-term CR with the 1% cut, that leverage there.
Yeah, but put yourself in his reality, which is that Republicans continued to stonewall him. The government was about to shut down. You're in that position.
Yeah, but you're assuming that I can't bring the Republicans together. I think that's why I'm running.
And so, of course, the next question that I asked him, Anna, was, so you're saying it was in part personal for McCarthy with some of these other members of the conference. Jordan dodged on that, but reading between the lines, that is clearly what he's saying, that he lacks some of the personal animosities that McCarthy had with key people in the conference like Gaetz. I do want to tick through a few other pieces of our interview that I thought were notable, especially as you mentioned, the frustration and tension within the Republican conference writ large right now, especially that ire directed towards Matt Gaetz. There is some chatter from some Republicans that they want to oust him from within the ranks of the Republican conference. That's something that I asked Jordan if he would support. He said he would not be supportive of that he thinks that Gaetz has been a good member of the conference. Of course, there are many people that I've spoken to in the last few days who vehemently disagree. I do think it's also striking that when you talk about the looming possibility of another government shutdown right before the holidays, I asked Jordan if he thought that a shutdown would be unacceptable to him. That's a line that McCarthy had previously laid out, as well as McConnell, Schumer, and President Biden. He didn't say that. He simply said he thought he'd have the leverage to be able to avoid it. But it is an important thing to note, especially as members are trying to figure out how the next speaker would contend with the looming possibility of a shutdown. And when we say the next speaker, it's because they've got a few options. It's not just Jordan. It's also the current number 2, Steve Scalise. Those are the two that are officially in the race. And then I've been able to report this morning, along with my colleague Julie Sirkin, that Kevin Hern, another Republican here in the conference, has been actively making calls to gauge interest, but he's not officially in the hunt yet.
Speaking of the possibility of an extended shutdown coming here, take a listen to this perspective and let me know your thoughts.
Republicans are hoping to hold the speaker vote early next week. Our next guest says that whoever the next speaker is will most likely have to shut down the government to prove that they will be tough in that role. Joining us right now is former White House Chief of Staff to President Obama, Bill Daley, who's also vice chairman at Wells Fargo. And Bill, I have about 50 different directions I want to take you, not just politics, what's happening with yields, what that means for the banks, the CFPB, lots of things that are happening. But why don't we start with where we set this up, which is what's happening in the House right now? What do you
Look, it kind of reminds me, remember the movie Talladega Nights when Ricky Bobby's kids were running around screaming anarchy, anarchy, and squirting water into people's windows. That seems to be what's going on. But the vote's going to be next week. If I had to bet between the two candidates, Steve Scalise and Jordan will win it. But as I said, they've got to commit. Jordan did vote against the CR deal that seemed to be at the heart of McCarthy's collapse with the hardcore group. So I'd bet on him. But yet he then has to, right before Thanksgiving, do what McCarthy wouldn't do, and that is basically shut down the government or cause the government to shut down because of the deal they're going to want with Biden in the Senate. That's going to be very hard. And it comes at a time, as you know better than I, where the economy is lots of different messages going on about how strong it is or getting stronger or getting weaker, the rates. And a shutdown that could last quite a while would be rather disruptive to the markets, in my opinion.
Why don't we talk about interest rates in the economy, just from your perspective as vice chairman at Wells Fargo? What's going on?
Well, everybody's got an opinion, and nobody really knows. My guess is that the rates will, as the Fed has said, and they've been very clear, rates will continue to go up. We can all argue, and everybody does, about how much more, but I think there's no question there will be additional rate increases.
In fact, the Senate is having a massively hard time as well. 20 Republican senators led by Rick Scott, who could actually be the next Senate Majority Leader when Mitch McConnell steps down or is forced to step down because of his health, vows to block bills not related to funding the government because they have no appropriations bills passed for funding the government there. And Chuck Schumer has not put any on the floor before they went to recess there. And 13 Senate Republicans want recess canceled until funding bills are passed because they don't want to do another continuing resolution. And remember, a lot of Republicans want massive cuts to everything. And we're probably going to see a lot of cuts across the board. So buckle up. And a lot of this is going to be cuts to social programs as well. We'll see what ends up coming to this. We actually could see potentially, maybe, a social security cut, a fixed. When I say that, a fix to Social Security, maybe. Remember that Social Security needs a fix to it, or else it's going to run out of money in as little as 9 years. And the most likely plan, especially from a Republican point of view, would be a cut to Social Security, whether it's a raise to the Social Security age or which is technically a cut. Okay, remember that if they raise Social Security age like they did years ago, technically that's a cut because you won't get benefits as early. Or if they do something along the lines of raising taxes on people that are still paying into the system, technically, I don't know if you look at that as a cut, but you're paying more money into the system. Or however they're going to do it, or I don't think Republicans are going to tax the wealthy. It's a possibility that they could because slim chance. We'll see. But they're going to have to fix Social Security one way or another. We will see. That could be in there. It could be in there. I'll keep you up to date. Also, White House waives 26 federal laws to speed up U.S.-Mexico border wall construction. Updated 2 hours ago. Yeah, it only took 3 years. My, how the tides have turned. You can see the President Biden feeling the pressure. And as we all know, the U.S.-Mexico border and immigration and the whole nightmare situation down there is an absolute nightmare. How different it is from when Biden got elected, how much criticism there is, and the millions of illegal immigrants that have gone through without being caught, catched, and released and sent back and all that stuff here. You can see here, the construction, which was announced in late June, is a major policy pivot for the Biden administration. It comes amid an influx of migrants along the southern border that has prompted even Democratic governors to ask the administration for help. Yeah, it only took 3 years. And Biden's actually fixed portions of the border wall previously. I could show you here. Yeah, here is one previously. If you've been watching my show here previously, this is back from July 29th of 2022 back in Arizona, and he did one before, but this not as big as if I recall correctly here. Obviously, the southern border, as I think we all know, is a problem, and the border wall has been a good fix to it because the point is that to have more people that are coming to the border to get caught by the people that are coming and to go to where border patrol is and to catch them, and then at least they get caught, because if they're going there, you at least want them to be apprehended. I guess the best word to say there is, as opposed to just come through without nobody catching them, right? Yeah, the Biden administration waived 26 federal laws in South Texas to greenlight the construction of approximately 20 additional miles of U.S.-Mexico border wall in the Rio Grande Valley. There's presently an acute and immediate need to construct physical barriers and roads in the vicinity of the border of the United States in order to prevent unlawful entries in the United States and the projected areas, said Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. I guess they just now are figuring this out 3 years, into the presidency. The department is an announcement Wednesday night said it would be waiving federal laws, including the Clean Air Act, the Safe Drinking Water Act, and the Endangered Species Act to expedite construction. The continuation of the border wall construction, which was announced in late June, is a major policy pivot for Biden administration. During his 2020 campaign, President Joe Biden promised not, quote, another foot of wall would be built under his administration. Once in office in January 2021, Biden issued a proclamation to end construction of the wall, stating that building a massive wall that spans the entire southern border is not a serious policy situation. And if you think this is bad, imagine how bad it was for the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years before we even had a wall. Yeah. Hundreds of years. So as long as our country has been here, right? So just think about that, and you can just kind of imagine. Yeah. So I know your mind and your math calculator in your head is kind of thinking, yeah. So and honestly, we're not the only country that has a wall, border gate, or anything along those lines. Yeah. So I'll keep you up to date here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't yet, subscribe down below. Click the subscribe button. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on new videos. And thank you for hitting the like button, and share these videos with other people so that they know everything going on here. I'll keep you up to date. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Click here to see Donald Trump could be elected as Speaker. That's right. Or click here to watch my newest video next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.